Hi, I'm Richard Burrow. For those of you who don't know me, I serve on Hatherleigh Town Council and I'm also part of the team behind Hatherleigh Community Market. This is a public update meeting and this is a recording of the presentation that we used at our public update meeting on the 27th of September for those of you who weren't able to attend. So first of all, some intros. Who are the interim management committee behind Hatherleigh Community Market? So first of all, we've got Debbie Kimber, who is our market manager. She's done an amazing job keeping the market going over the last 5 years under quite difficult transitional arrangements at times. We also have District Councillor Patrick Kimber, who I'm sure you will have seen in and around the community, myself, and also Tori Rogers, who is our legal advisor. So, how are things going? So here's a brief overview of what we've managed to achieve in the last 12 months. So first of all, we have signed a 25-year renewable commercial lease for the whole site. This secures the future of Hatherleigh Market on this site for as long as we want it. We have delivered a new all-weather fit-for-purpose home for Hatherleigh Market, delivering a building with side enclosures which makes it suitable for year-round trading. We have secured competitive finance options from the developer Kingswood Homes to fund those building enhancements. And we have also developed a business plan and a strategy for how we plan to repay those building enhancement costs. In addition to that, we have formed a community benefit society and started work on a membership share scheme to raise capital for the market and so that we can govern the future of the market together as a community. We have made excellent progress towards paying back the building finance, and we're actually already halfway there to paying that back in just 10 short months, which is an incredible achievement. We've applied for an alcohol premises licence and we're currently awaiting a final approval on that. That will help us widen out the scope of events that we can run on the site. And we've also learned recently that the market will qualify for 100% small business rates relief, which is a big help. We have grown the number of traders and customers at our core Tuesday market and auction. We actually have a waiting list now for new traders, which is a sign of a good strengthening market. We have run a series of successful seasonal fairs and hosted a number of well-attended community events. I'd like to talk about those in a bit more detail later. We have introduced a new Saturday farmers market, which was one of our aspirations. We have brought back the Sunday car boot sale on the site, and we have also started earning venue hire revenue as well from the market. So over the past 10 months, Hatherleigh Community Market has hosted a number of well-attended community events. Just to recap some of those, they are as follows. We had in December 2024, we had our 2-day Christmas fair opening event, which was opened by local author Sir Michael Morpurgo. In April 2025, we held our spring fair. In May, we held our dog show. In June, we had our Father's Day fair. In August, we had a number of events, starting with Brickfest, Bandemonium, which was tremendously well attended. There was over 1,000 people on the Market Square for the final massed band, silver band meetup. In August again, we had our Feast Food Fair. And then later in September, we had our Country Crafts and Food Fair. Here's a few images just to recap those lovely events. So next, I'd like to talk to you about our lease, our incomes and our overheads and what our current position is. So as I mentioned earlier on in the presentation, we have signed a 25-year commercial renewable release, and that is a full repair and insure lease. Annual rent has been agreed at $20,000 a year plus VAT. VAT is chargeable because it is a commercial lease. We have obtained substantial rent discounts in the first 10 years to help us establish the market on the new site. So in the first 5 years, we have obtained 100% discount, meaning we pay no rent in those first 5 years. We have a 50% discount in years 6 to 10, meaning our rent is £12,000 a year, including the VAT. And in years 11 plus, we have no discount, so the full rent becomes payable in those years. That's £24,000 a year. But importantly, because it is a commercial lease, we have the right to automatically renew our lease at the end of its term. So it's important to note we're in a bit of a honeymoon period as things stand. Obviously, we're currently in this 5-year rent-free period. So that started when we signed the lease in December 2024. So we're nearly 1 year into that 5-year rent-free period. So from December 2029 to December 2034, that's when we'll be paying 50% rent at $12,000 a year. And from December 2034 onwards, that's when the full rent at $24,000 a year becomes payable. So now I'd like to talk to you about our income from operations. So in January, our income was 2,116. In February, it was 2,691. In March, it was 3,165, April 1,686, May 2,875, June 3,096, July 3,001, and in August it was £2,163.50. So as you can see, we're making an average monthly income of approximately 2,600 every month. And it's important to note that income is calculated and is combined from income from our Tuesday and Saturday markets, our seasonal fairs, car boots, and venue hire. So now I'd like to break down our average monthly expenditure for you. So we pay no rent at the moment because we're in the rent-free period. Our estate management charge is £750. We pay our market manager £1,000 a month. We pay business rates of 0 at the moment. We pay £112 a month for insurance, roughly £75 a month for utilities. Waste management is £72 a month. Professional fees to accountants is £120 a month, and marketing is roughly £550 a month. So our total average monthly expenditure is £2,671. It is also worth noting that that excludes any building enhancements loan interest of approximately £1,000 a month. And it also excludes any investment that we're making in things like new toilets and kitchen facilities. So where does that leave us in terms of our position at the moment? So to recap, our average monthly income is £2,600 a month, and our average monthly expenditure now is £2,671. So we're basically wiping our face at the moment, breaking even, which is a great position to be in just 10 short months of trading. But looking to the future, when things like the rent starts becoming due from year 6 onwards, you'll see that our average monthly expenditure increases to 3,671. And then obviously from year 11 onwards, where we start paying the full rent, that increases further to 4,671. So it's important to note that we need to start thinking about ways we can increase our monthly income in order to put the market on a sustainable long-term financial footing. So now I'd like to talk about our progress in repaying the building finance and an update there for you. So to deliver the enhanced all-weather facility that we have today cost us £228,000. That was £190,000 plus the VAT. And it's important to note that we needed to agree a programme of improvements to the basic open-sided pavilion style building that Kingswood Homes were originally planning to build. That was important because we needed a facility that was going to allow us to trade all year round, which meant we needed something with side enclosures to be weatherproof. We were able to obtain competitive finance options from Kingswood Homes, the developer, in order to fund the upfront costs of delivering those enhancements. So those enhancements provided glass side enclosures which sat on a waist-high stone plinth, and that's to the north and south long elevations of the building. It also delivered wooden Yorkshire board cladding on the end gables and also on the fur and feathers end of the building. It delivers additional internal power sockets and also water. It delivers us a market operator's office, disabled toilet facilities, double doors to the car park and the Market Square entrances, and a large sliding door to the fur and feathers area. It also gives us 16 amp 3-phase power to the Market Square, which is important for things like our Christmas markets and larger outside events. So how are we doing on repaying that money? So as of September 2025, we have received and repaid to the developer £114,555 of the £228,000 owed. So we're basically halfway there already. That money is made up from community pledges and donations that we've collected to date. A substantial donation from the Hatherleigh Management Committee, a substantial grant from West Edinburgh Council Regeneration Scheme, 2 Rural Prosperity Fund grants, the Year 1 grant from Hatherleigh Town Council, part of our Year 2 grant from Hatherleigh Town Council, and also in future we have secured additional funding from our Year 2 second part of Hatherleigh Town Council grant, and also £20,000 in local business sponsorship from a local business, which I'll talk about later on. So other funding opportunities we're looking to explore. We have put in a grant application to the National Lottery Community Fund for £20,000. We're awaiting to hear for that later on in the year. We are setting ourselves a goal to raise £50,000 from our Community Benefit Society share scheme. We are looking to raise an additional £20,000 from other local business sponsorship. And we intend to pursue a number of other smaller grant schemes totaling around about 20 to 25,000. We are also looking at options for commercial loans and potential for a Public Works Loan Board loan to help us to get to the finishing line. So next I'd like to talk about how we are working in partnership with other local organisations. So I mentioned earlier that a generous sponsorship deal has been agreed with a local business. That business is Dunbia, which operate the abattoir which neighbours Hatherleigh Community Market. So they very kindly agreed to support the market with £10,000 a year for 2 years, so totalling 20,000 in total. We are also currently in discussions with another local business to fund the installation of a dog waste bin on the market square, which Hatherleigh Town Council have kindly agreed to cover the costs of regular dog bin collections on that bin. And in the coming months, we will be working with other local businesses to generate sponsorship income from the market. So next, I'd like to talk about our plans for introducing parking management on the site. So why do we need to introduce parking management at Hatherleigh Market? Simply put, without a parking management order, it will be very difficult for us to take enforcement action against vehicle owners who abuse the car park. I'm talking about things like abandoned vehicles, hazardous or dangerous parking, or unauthorised parking or settling on the site. No restrictions could mean vehicles being left for long periods of time, which we are already seeing that happen, and that greatly reduces the number of available parking spaces for users on the market days and for other events. Why do we need to introduce parking charges as part of parking management? So we raised earlier on in the presentation the need to generate additional sources of income to help repay the building finance, but also to cover rent in years 6 onwards. So we're looking to introduce parking charges to ensure the market has a reliable additional source of income so it can meet its future financial obligations, such as paying for the building finance, maintenance costs, and for covering the rent. Parking charges will be necessary to help put the market on a long-term sustainable financial footing. So what areas will be covered by the parking management order? You can see on the site map diagram to the right hand side, the areas covered in pink are the parking spaces for Hatherleigh Market, and they will be controlled as part of this parking order. So parking charges will apply on all of those areas. So the large area to the top of the diagram, that is the main car park behind the Hatherleigh Market building. Then coming down, you have some road bays which come out from the exit from Dunbier. The dotted line, the pink dotted line area, that is the market square in front of the market building. And we plan to restrict that area for trader parking only, and we will be issuing our traders with parking permits so that they can park in that area on market days. And then towards the bottom of the diagram, that is the road leading down to the main road, that's St John's View. We have two rows of parking bays in that area as well. So how much will it cost to park my car at Hatherleigh Community Market? So we've done extensive modelling on this, looking at a range of different options for tariffs for parking. And we have settled on what we feel to be the fairest, which is just £1 a day for all day parking. In working out our parking charges, we've been careful to keep the rates as low as possible and offer one simple all-day parking tariff. So 70p from every £1 raised from parking will go directly towards supporting the market and will be used for paying down the building finance in the short term and for covering our overheads such as rent in the medium term. By paying for parking, you will be directly supporting the future of Hatherleigh Market. We've had a number of questions for people concerned about how complicated it will be. So we're saying it will not be complicated to park at Hatherleigh Market. We have carefully researched parking machines that are simple for all to use. There will be no requirement to enter your number plate, and you just pay your £1, press the button and get a ticket for all-day parking. If you wish to pay electronically, you can download the Pay by Phone app and pay on the go using a card as well. We will also be offering annual parking permits, and we will be matching the rate of the town car park, which is currently £153 per year for an annual parking permit. This offers a substantial saving on the standard £1 per day tariff. So at £153 per year, that is equivalent to just 41 pence per day. And these will be available to all. Will you provide free parking permits to traders? So yes is the answer to that. I think I indicated that earlier on in the presentation. So we plan to offer a limited number of free parking permits to support our regular traders. These will be issued at the discretion of Debbie Kimber, our market manager. And just to recap, so parking revenue will be directly supporting the market. In the short term, we will be using it to pay for the building finance costs. And in the medium to long term, parking revenue will be used to pay a rent from year 6 onwards, and also other operational overheads and maintenance costs. So next, I'd like to talk about our future plans for Hatherleigh Market. So we have some aspirations to enhance the market further, and I'd like to talk those through with you now. So firstly, we would like to install an additional accessibility ramp to the rear car park entrance to the building. We have also started work on the installation of an additional toilet. You might have seen the work to start building that extra cubicle has already started. We would like to install better fixed kitchen facilities. We would like to install Wi-Fi internet for traders and our customers. We would like to install CCTV cameras to help improve the building security. We would like to think about funding and installing some outside kiosk chalets for some of our regular traders. And we would like to think about investing in new equipment for hosting events such as staging, festoon lighting, and PA sound systems. In addition to the previous ones mentioned, we would like to install an information point or notice board to advertise upcoming events in the town, and also provide local tourist information. We would like to install a QR code which links to the Visit Hatherleigh website, which again has lots of useful information about events happening in the town, and also tourist information, and there is also a business directory for local businesses on that website. We would like to think about how we can enhance the site with maybe some kind of art installation or a mural on the big walls that separate the two buildings. And we could use that to celebrate the heritage and history of Hatherleigh Market. We know that local artists like Eileen Gold and Sean Miller have produced some wonderful works, and we would like to think about using those in the site. We are also very keen to bring back the Fur and Feathers auction when the DEFRA restrictions are lifted. Currently we are obviously bound by those DEFRA restrictions, and we're waiting to hear when those movement restrictions will be lifted so that we can continue with the long-standing history of fur and feather auctions on the site. We would also like to install some solar panels on the very large expanse of south-facing roof that we have here on Hatherleigh Market. That's a great asset for us. We have a provisional costed plan for installing solar panels, which would cost in the region of £65,000. Those installation costs could be met from green energy grants, and they would allow us to be self-sufficient in our own panel generation for the market. And it would also enable us to sell plaque the surplus back to the national grid, which we think would generate in the region of between £10,000 and £11,000 per year income from year 6 onwards. We have estimated that the solar panels would pay for themselves in those first 6 years based on that level of income. So next I'd like to talk to you about the Community Benefit Society share scheme and a brief update there for you. So what is a Community Benefit Society? This is a question that we've been asked a lot, so we'd like to provide you with some information about that here. A Community Benefit Society is a type of organisation which operates on a not-for-profit basis for a purpose that benefits the community. So in our case, to operate the market. Like a private company, a Community Benefit Society may raise funds to meet its objectives by issuing shares. In our case, the funds will initially be directed towards paying off the building finance, but we could use those in future to further develop the site as well. How is a Community Benefit Society regulated? So our Community Benefit Society, which is called Hatherleigh Community Market Limited, has been registered with both the Companies House and Financial Conduct Authority. This ensures proper accountability, good governance and transparency to our members. We will have to file annual accounts and hold AGMs to report back to our members for transparency. So the ethos of the Community Benefit Society, at its heart, the Community Benefit Society exists for the community's benefit, not for private gain. So in the spirit of equality, every member has an equal voice with 1 vote per member, regardless of the amount of shares that they hold. This structure ensures fair and democratic decision making for the market's future. So here are some quotes from the Community Shares Handbook, which we're referring to for guidance as part of our share issue process. The Cooperative and Community Benefit Societies Act of 2014 requires a community benefit society to carry on a business, industry or trade that is being or intended to be conducted for the benefit of the community. A community benefit society is described as an independent society that is owned and democratically controlled by the community it serves. Investing in community shares engages communities in a virtuous circle where it is in their interest as members and investors to also be active as customers, supporters and volunteers. It is in the interest of all stakeholders to work together to create wealth and to use their democratic rights to determine how that wealth is distributed. All the profits of a community benefit society must be used to benefit the community. This is usually achieved by retaining and reinvesting profit in the business activities of the society, so in our case the market. So a summary of the Community Benefit Society share scheme. The Community Benefit Society and the market is currently being managed by an interim management committee until the member share scheme is launched and members will be able to vote to appoint a committee. The interim management committee is the 4 individuals that I introduced you to at the beginning of this presentation. So the share scheme is not intended to return profits to shareholders. It is an altruistic investment intended to support the market. Funds will be used to pay for the building and in future to enhance the market further. The scheme will operate on a 1 member, 1 vote basis regardless of shareholding. And the more shares we issue, the quicker the loan will be repaid and our overheads reduced. So how is the share scheme going? So a business plan for the share offer has been drafted and our team is working closely with the Plunkett Foundation advisors to produce the required legal documents to launch the share scheme. That includes a full share prospectus. We are developing a marketing plan to raise awareness of the share offer and try and attract as many investors as possible. And we anticipate launching the share scheme within the next 3 to 4 months. So next I'd like to talk to you about volunteer support required to help the market. So can you spare any time to help out in the following areas? So we're looking for help with event publicity, an events support team. We're looking for help with making grant applications. We are always looking for people who would be interested in becoming board or committee members. We are looking for admin support in the form of bookkeeping or accounts. And we're always looking to recruit people to join our focus groups so that we can talk about how we can develop the market and serve people better, and also to get feedback from the community. So just to talk about some of these roles, so event publicity in and around Hatherleigh. Could you spare 2 to 3 hours per month to help us with event publicity? That would be involve putting up posters in and around approximately 25 locations in and around Hatherleigh. Could you help with putting up and taking down of temporary road signs to promote events such as our seasonal fairs and our monthly farmers markets? Or could you help with social media support? So event publicity in and around the surrounding areas of Hatherleigh. Could you spare 4 to 8 hours a month to publicise our events in surrounding areas? Or could you be part of a team to help do that? And that would involve putting up posters or road signs in approximately 40 locations in the surrounding areas within 10 miles of Hatherleigh. So grant applications. Do you or anyone you know have experience preparing and submitting grant applications? Could you spare some time to work with us or as part of a team identifying and applying for grants to support the market? Event support. Could you spare time to help out on an occasional basis with events at the market? Could you help with setting up the market for big events? That's things like setting out market stalls and tables, putting up signage, parking stewards, counting footfall events with a clicker at our events and regular markets, preparing and serving food, clearing down, sweeping or emptying bins after events. I'd like to talk to you about the support we're looking for in the form of board or committee members. Would you consider serving on the interim management committee? We're looking at ways we can expand the skills and experience of the current interim committee. That would also help us spread the workload across a larger team. And it would also help us to ensure good governance for the market by having a wider range of people on the team. The Interim Management Committee will be active until the Community Benefit Society formally elects a management committee. So these are not permanent roles, these are an interim management committee role. So bookkeeping, are you an experienced bookkeeper or do you know of one? We're looking for community-minded individuals who would help out with bookkeeping. So we use QuickBooks. And it would involve things like uploading invoices, reconciling bank transactions, making payments to suppliers, updating our financial forecast spreadsheets. So next, we've got focus groups. So could you spare time on an occasional basis for group discussions, to join in debates about how we can improve Hatherleigh Market, share meeting notes and feedback with the Interim Management Committee. So lastly, we would encourage you to talk to us if you think you can help. If you have any questions or suggestions for how we can improve the market, please come and talk to us. Myself, Patrick and Debbie are generally at the Tuesday markets every week, so please make yourself known to us. Hatherleigh Community Market belongs to everyone. We now need your support to make it a success. Thank you for your time in viewing this presentation. Please feel free to share any follow-up questions or feedback with us using the form below the presentation on this page.